Welcome to the Build It Better podcast, powered by FRAMECAD. I'm your host, Robert Johnson, and we're back for part 2 of our discussion with Stanley Adwell of Intellisteel. I'm once again sitting in their office in Orlando, Florida. Let's pick it up where we left off last time.
What we do is we are actually, we're leapfrogging and going up to the developer and going, this is what it's going to cost you, because we can look at a set of plans in a very low schematic form and give them a number that's accurate and say, we're going to give you this. This is the number you have. Now take this number and provide this to an allowance to all your general contractors. It's the same number. They all bid it. It's evenly and fair. But now the owner has control again over the number of their superstructure. And that's a big deal.
That is a massive deal.
Putting power back into the developers who are taking the risk originally and giving the product downstream to the general contractors who have a better, they're not at risk anymore of that portion. While of course their contract goes down, but they're not at risk of having to price that out and possibly lose themselves.
Yeah.
The number's already been decided by the developer.
So let's go back, take that and go back to the 2020, 2021 argument when lumber was going through the roof.
Yeah.
So things weren't penciling anymore. And then I had people come to me and say, hey, listen, I know we talked to you. We made a decision. We went with lumber. I just wanted to follow up with you and let you know, not only was lumber higher, it was higher at the time that we bid the job, but we found out that that didn't stop because they hadn't purchased the lumber yet. So by the time they actually purchased the lumber, it went up another $350,000, $400,000, $700,000.
Change orders like that were every day.
That was just an escalation cost.
Yeah.
And I went, And they said, so the question I have for you is, what would we be paying today for your material? I said, same thing, because you'd have bought it back then.
Yeah, exactly.
Wait, what do you mean? I'm like, yeah. So
with a deposit, I can secure all your product.
Exact. And guess what?
You don't have to buy it all. A deposit will get you all your product.
And and I don't care if it's 2 years down the road or whatever it is, your material is paid for.
Yeah.
It's yours.
Yeah.
And you can put 100,000 square foot of steel in a 4-car garage.
Yeah.
So you can leave it outside. I mean, I don't care what it is, but there it is. And so how many developers wouldn't want to pay up front, say, okay, we're ready to do this deal. It doesn't matter who I use, I can purchase my structure right now, the material for it, and it's solid.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly what we're saying.
And you're finding the financiers are behind this saying, lock it in. They went through the pain.
They're lenders, because typically it's like, oh, no, it's not going to finalize till we get your final numbers, whatever else. And they're like, hey, you know what?
They're like, lock it in.
Go ahead, we'll pay it.
Yeah, lock it in. They want to. 2020 stung so many people, so many financiers, so many performers, and so many projects that everybody got hurt because of those $500, $1 million change orders before they even get started.
Who pays for that? I mean, that's what I'm saying. It's like, I got to come up with $1 million.
Right. That's tough. And I heard that happening on almost every deal.
So to that conversation, so now you supply material to installers, correct?
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
I'm a building material supplier.
Okay. We were we supplied and installed. For us, I forgot what I was going to say.
If I was in Florida, or let's call it the Central Florida area alone, working specifically there, I would definitely be my own framer. My problem is that my geographic footprint is broad enough that I can't take people from here to there and be competitive to someone local. I'd rather train them. So what we do today is we end up talking to the general contractor and find out, do you have a preferred set of framers you like to work with? A lot of them do. They like the same guys. Yeah. Okay, what have they said about when you told them you're thinking cold form steel? Oh, it's going to be more expensive. All right, can you put them with us? Let us talk to them. Let us show them. Let us work with them. We can get them calmed down, and we can get their numbers to where they need to be because we can walk them through it. And then the general contractors have a better feeling that they're using someone they know. If they don't, then of course we've got people that we've used all around in all of our markets that we can refer to our customers.
This old man remembered. I actually remembered what I was going to say.
There is hope.
Yeah, Alzheimer's. I have temporary Alzheimer's.
We all do.
So we were an installer, okay? I know people, you know people in the construction world that will estimate a job and they'll say, you know what, and of course, the big win is don't get into competitive bidding situations if you can help it. Negotiated bid, 100%. But I'm bidding against 4 people, 6 people, whatever. I'm going to go in low, and then I know I'm going to get X percentage in change orders. Okay? Mm-hmm. Everybody does it. I say everybody, not everybody. But there are people out there that they live on the change order. That's where their profit is.
They've done that baked in inefficiencies, knowing that they're going to get, because of the changes, the problems, the plans are
not done. I'm going to make their nose bleed on that change order.
I'm going to make all that money back.
We built 2 buildings, furnish and install, not one change order. We got through with the job and they were like, never in 20-something years, 40-something years, have I had a job where a subcontractor did exactly what he said he was going to do.
Yeah.
And then some. I mean, I'm not saying that there wasn't an ask, and maybe it was a big ask, maybe it was a little ask.
Or maybe you provided a few ads because just doing the right thing.
Yeah, it was like, I'll do that for you.
Yeah.
We're done. We've finished. Our guys don't have anything else to do for the next 6 months, so we'll knock that out for you. Whatever.
Yeah.
Not one. They've never had. And why can we do that? Well, because we build in a warehouse. It's designed. It's showing up panelized. What are we fixing? I tell people all the time, I got to have all your rough openings. They go, well, no, we don't know that until it gets bid out. And then the sub, award it to the sub, because when they bid it, it's or approved to equal, and everybody uses a different approved to equal. And I say to them, no, we need to know now.
Yeah.
Well, what do you mean? You tell them this is what they're going to use.
Yeah.
So I know this. I mean, that's one of the ways to do it. There's other ways, but here it is. You can build in space, et cetera. But I have to know it. We push things by doing by the system that we do.
We're design led. We're up front. Everything's built out up front. That takes away those inconsistencies and inefficiencies on the job site, led by those who may or may not be qualified to read the plans or perform the work, but they're there as bodies doing it, and that's because the market pushes it.
Yeah. Now, that brings up the one thing. The other thing, skilled workers. Not just the hands, but I mean skilled even.
Yeah.
We're seeing that more emphasis on the tech end.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
My kids, my son, he was going to follow in my footsteps and make me proud. And he was like, he did it for 6 months and went, Dad, I don't want to do this the rest of my life. That's stupid, So he's in the tech world and does fantastic. But the skilled labor force, like me, I was going to say gray hair, but it's more of a no hair. They're going away.
They're going away.
I mean, they're not even on the jobs as superintendents and foremen and whatever anymore. And so what have you got?
Well, are the skilled actually skilled anymore? A lot of them aren't. I mean, look, there are great carpenters out there, and there are great woodworkers, and there are great laborers out there.
Yep.
But the majority have been depleted, and we're seeing an inferior quality labor force. It just is the case.
Yeah.
And the skilled guys have gotten fewer and far between. You find them in the north a lot. I see them a lot in the north, right? In the northern states.
I would agree with you.
Great craftsmen up there. And I'm not against wood. I think wood's got its place, but I think wood
Fireplaces.
Yeah, that's a good spot for them.
During the winter.
Bonfires. Yeah.
Feed your termite collection.
Now your worm collection.
Yep.
So I think that we're seeing a change also in the fact that our job sites we're using. We say 2/3. It's 2/3 less people. It's just fewer people on the job site doing 2 times the amount of work, and they're doing it with a lot lighter product, right?
Yeah.
And I think that right there is driving the change on understanding where the labor concept happens and how it applies itself to advanced technology manufacturing and construction.
And so we're using less skilled labor and supplying a superior product.
Oh, God, yeah.
So
straight, laser straight.
Oh, yeah.
Millimeter tolerance, plumb in every corner. And now I think people get afraid sometimes, Robert, right? And you've heard this before. Well, if it's panelized, you can't fix it on site. Well, certainly you can.
At the end of the day, it's a metal stud.
It's a metal stud. They actually turn it into something that it's not, right? It's at the end of the day, it's a metal stud. So here's what we tell. I don't know how everybody else does it, but what we tell people is, look, if you're going to change or cut something in the field, just call us first. If you call us, I can probably give you the fix on it because it's probably a measurement. Just give me a call.
Yeah.
If I can't fix it, I'm going to ask you, do you need to do it right now? Because if you don't, I'll send you a replacement so you don't have to deal with it. I'd rather you not cut anything.
Yeah.
If they say, no, I got to do it now, okay. Well, we're also the engineer, so we'll design it for you. We'll give you the detail. We'll stamp it. We'll send it to you real time. So you can make the fix right then. So there's not that what happens in in traditional construction is you make a cut through a large plate, or someone makes a cut into something they shouldn't. Then they have to call and get an engineer letter. That engineer letter has to come back and reroute it through, get approved, and then you get a change order, blah, blah, blah. We're not even change ordering that, like you said. We're just, let's move this thing through.
That is so one-off. That thing that you're talking about is so seldom.
So seldom. But it happens. You can fix it in the field.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it's, they're like, it's a metal stud.
I think people still do the same thing too. I'm sure you heard this, right? Well, you're cold form steel. So you're like Prescient or you're like Infinity? No, not at all. In fact, we're nothing like that. They're proprietary. We're not proprietary. We're ASTM shapes, right?
Yeah, we were talking about this morning, and I said, he was asking about an assembly.
Yeah.
Does FRAMECAD have this assembly?
Oh,
Does this have this assembly?
Every call.
And I'm like, you could look that up on Clark Dietrich.
You can look it up anywhere.
Anyway, I said, what do you? It's a stud.
It's a stud.
It's a metal stud.
Yeah. And there's as many assemblies, if not more, for commercial metal. It's been around 175 years. That there's as many out there as there is for wood or more.
Yeah.
So, and we're doing a lot of projects like you're talking about the board. That board is filled with projects that are permitted already. Most of them shovel ready, and they're making the decision to pull out the wood and put in the cold form steel.
Changing their mind now.
Because the price is that significant for them that they're prepared to make that adjustment. They have to pay a little bit to get the architect to make that change. They're making minor changes, but the architects come back to us and say, well, what do we have to do? Well, you're gonna have to change your assemblies from wood to cold form steel. Well, where are those at? Well, they're on every book that you can look at. They're everywhere you can possibly see.
Wherever you're pulling your stuff for lumber, yeah.
How many times have you heard, but what are the sound ratings? Sound ratings through metal is a lot worse, right? No, it's not. Sound through distance is what makes up your STC and IICs. It's distance, correct. Right?
That is correct.
So a lot of people think that you don't have the same sound or the same fire or the same IIC ratings. 100% you do. It's the exact same. And it's going to be in the same depth. And you actually see better performance in some. So that's a myth. And I also, you hear a lot about the thermal transfer, right?
Oh, really?
Yeah, thermal transfer. This is a fun one, right? I was on a call today with a group that was building, and they said, well, the concrete structure concrete house that I have in Florida does such a good job of thermal insulation. We looked it up. So a block building has an R9 factor in it, an R9 factor. And in our cavities, we're putting R19 in them as a minimum, if not more. How is it that the block's got better insulation properties than we do?
So even when we talk about thermal bridging from wood to steel, not only are you filling a cavity full of insulation, you're filling all but, millimeters of a cavity with insulation.
Yeah, and putting cladding on both sides of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
another myth.
A myth, right?
Yeah.
And I think those happen a lot. People think that we're a system and we're not. We're just if you look at a wood building, and I tell this to customers, is think about your wood building that you've already designed. If you just imagine that just turning into metal and nothing else changes, that's what we're doing to most of these projects because they're already permit ready. I can't even change the design. I don't have time.
Not even if you wanted to.
And I do want to, but I don't have the opportunity to do that. So
you could even save me more money.
I could be saving them more money. But I think that's another. I think these myths need to be demystified because it does impact people's either willingness or comfortability of making a change from what they've done for so long, when the reality is once they do, I can tell you that our customers don't ever go back. They don't ever go back.
I tell this all the time. People call it on me all the time, and I'm like, there is not one project I've ever been involved in when they got done, a developer, even a GC, I'll be honest, even a GC, but a developer for sure that said, I'm never going to build any other way.
Yeah.
Well, why haven't I been doing this all along?
Right. They didn't know it was available.
They control cost. They know they can control costs. It's just a superior product. The whole thing.
Yeah.
It's amazing. This is a fun job, isn't it?
Oh, I love it. This is even through the hard times, because it was hard for a while. It taught us a lot, and by teaching a lot, now we get to talk to other users. I know FRAMECAD. There's many FRAMECAD new users or potential users come into our factory. I love showing it to them. Why? I like talking to them about it. Why?
Yeah.
I want them to be one. Why? Because I want the industry to change.
Yeah, no, and I'm not a real popular guy sometimes in my circles, even though this podcast is powered by FRAMECAD. I'm more pro cold form steel, more pro prefab, panelization, modular, all that stuff than I am a particular manufacturer of a piece of equipment that makes that system.
I'm like you. I'm all for whatever's driving change, because change has been needed.
Yeah, and I'll say that. I'll put a little asterisk now at the end of it and say, I still think FRAMECAD's the best machine out there. Okay.
Well, I do too.
And I say that.
I do too. That's why it's in our DNA.
Yeah. And that really is it. And that's what I started with. I didn't look around. I didn't shop around, because at the time, there wasn't anybody else.
Right.
Which is one of the benefits to FRAMECAD is that we have been around a long time. And we have everybody goes through trial and error. I mean, we're a manufacturer. We are tech leading. I mean, we've got R&D teams. All this stuff that goes into this is not just selling you a system and leaving.
No.
I was talking this morning, and I said that one of the things that I think that we started doing better is helping to make our existing customers successful faster.
Yeah.
I think that's something
I've seen FRAMECAD do that.
Yeah, it's not something that we did well for a long time, but we are back in the day when you were there.
I agree with that.
No, I mean, and that's no shot at anybody.
Great.
That wasn't meant to be a shot.
It's great.
Listen, it was a fast emerging market that it dictated exactly what was. Let's get systems and seats, and let's do this. So now. It's like, let's help people get successful faster. Now let's go back and let's really start helping people with how they're purchasing steel. Help them to understand it, how they're pricing it, what to do. Those little things that we all learned the hard way.
Yeah. This is...
And you're rare in this business, and you know this. You're rare in that you're willing to share.
Oh, yeah.
Some of the bumps along the road and some of the things. Now, listen, do I expect that you're giving me every proprietary intellectual property piece? No, I'm not. But the genesis, the nuts, the bolts, the just common sense stuff that everybody's gonna figure out on their own eventually.
Well, I am trying to drop a lot of nuggets on them, and this is what I'll say, and this is not because you're here. I had a chance to work. Well, first of all, I got introduced to this technology. I had a chance to work within the technology deeply. I got a chance to work within the competitive network of who else was doing what we were doing, because I had to analyze them and evaluate them. I got a chance to see where the gaps were, and I got a chance to see what the challenges are for users. As a person who was providing this system to clients in these markets, what I can say is that not only was FRAMECAD a dominating force worldwide in what they do, I knew it would end up becoming the same here in the U.S.
It's much more so worldwide than it is here.
But it's coming.
Yeah.
And here's why. Here's why I know that. You saw a big surge happen a couple of years ago where just a ton of machines came into the market, right?
Yep.
And that's just planted the seeds. So now you got this seeds planted. But the truth is that I also witnessed companies try to come in at price, right? And when they came in at price, the problem is they didn't back it up with everything else. And it was so critical to have a back office, mid office serviceability, spare parts capability, and a company that was willing to stand behind and try and lead wherever they can and listen to the opportunities of change where they have to. I watched FRAMECAD modify the software specifically because I was stretching the software from a smaller 2- and 3-story application to a mid-rise application.
Which is unique to the U.S., to the North America.
Completely. And they literally took the time to figure it out. They sat with our engineers, they sat with us, they tried to figure it out. They made modifications in their software.
Right.
You will not see that in other competitive products. You won't. I know that because I know them all.
Exactly.
I've looked at them all,
right.
and it's just not there.
And where we are today, so where all those other people are today is where FRAMECAD was 8 years ago.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they may make a great system.
Yeah.
I'm not pounding on people's roll formers. At the end of the day, it's a roll former.
Yeah.
Okay. But it's all that other stuff you're talking
everything
about
else.
that that really is a big differentiator right now. People ask me all the time, what's our differentiator right now? Oh, our differentiator, I think, is our customer success team that we've been building. The things that we're doing back of house, the R&D, all that stuff. You have a problem, you've got some issue, have an assembly that you want to work out, we've got a team that'll put it through its paces and tell you whether it'll work or what you need to do to make it work. So yeah, you're buying so much more than just a piece of equipment.
A whole lot more.
And some software.
And I think in our process, I think the equipment is a smaller portion of the actual delivery mechanism, right? It's the engineering design, it's all of the parts and pieces thinking before and after arrival than it is on what just comes out of the machine. So I think that you're right. It is a system. It's a true system.
Okay. What have we not talked about that you think we should talk about? Where's next? Where's the next place you're going to go? Can you share? Where are you looking?
I'm not looking for anywhere specific.
Is there any place that's not on the map? The U.S.
California is not on my map.
Okay.
State of Washington's not on my map.
Okay.
We have projects in Los Angeles and San Diego, but
I think I know why. I mean, that's a tough. I mean,
tough
get
one, yeah.
even with frame, even myself. I mean, we have machines that go up to, Salt Lake City. There's this, and then from Salt Lake up to Canada, there's this big gap. Nothing's happening there, and I don't know if it's just back in caveman days or what, but.
I think where we're going next is driven by our customers. Our customers are taking us places.
Yeah.
So that's a testament to going back to that comment where when you get a customer and you do a project, they won't do anything else. They're only going to do this, and then they go, well, we're also doing work in this state and this state and this state. Can you do it here? Well, yeah, we're already doing it there. So let's do it. So yeah. I'm looking at over the next 24 months that Intellisteel will be in the Mid-Atlantic area. Will be in the Carolinas, and then the third one will be a decision between Indiana, Michigan, or Ohio. It's just about state taxes, but we are going to be there because, as you can see from our board, I've got a tremendous amount of work up in those areas.
And back to the point, you're doing fabrication in that place.
Yeah,
that bottom line looks a little bit better.
It does. It's better for
you
everybody.
got to get facilities and you got to hire people and all that. I get it, but.
We're also talking to some users out in the marketplace that are FRAMECAD users that are they've been struggling, and what we're doing is we're talking to them about bringing them into the fold, giving them some strength and capacities that will help build their business, but also give them a brand that they can work on.
That's actually good news for a lot of people, because there were a lot of people that were like I was with the iPhone when it first came out. That is the neatest thing. I jump on it. I'm still an early adopter with Apple products, good, bad, or indifferent. There's a lot of early adopter mentality people that jumped on something because they see it.
Yeah, they got it.
They do have it, but they're ahead of their curve. They're ahead of their time. And so they're struggling, and maybe they're about to get rid of their equipment. Maybe they're looking at another place. Right. So they need an outlet. They need, this is like, oh, that's fantastic. And then there's an opportunity. And whether it's a long-term opportunity with Intellisteel, or they spin off someday and go back to doing what it was that their original vision was.
Yeah. I think there's an opportunity here, Robert. I think that right now what I see, just because of my time in and where I know where all the machines are, and I know where the people are doing with those machines, I think there are some, like you said, early adopters, outstanding intentions, good quality people. They have the product and the system in hand. They've got a geographic area that I would like to be in. So what I'm looking at is trying to better them in some form or fashion, so they don't either lose the business, or B, they don't struggle in the business. C, that we can bring quality to that business, and we could take that geographic area and expand cold form steel. Yeah, that's the goal.
At the end of the day, we all win.
Yeah,
huge.
Oh yeah.
Big wins. Well.
Can't think of anything else.
Yeah, I think we've about beat this to death. Did I understand correctly? And I know this is not going to come out for quite some time. This 25-year thing you dropped on me, is that marriage?
Oh yeah, 25 years.
You don't look old enough to be married 25 years.
I got married when I was 11.
Yeah, I tell people that all the time. And now, I've got 3 children and 11 grandchildren, and then I look at people and go, "You're supposed to say you don't look old enough to have that many." I'm like, "Yeah, well, I did start, very, very early. Not 11, but congratulations.
Thank you very much.
And I hope you're doing something nice, because I don't even know your wife, but I guarantee you she deserves it.
Oh, like you have no idea.
Yeah, yeah. And that's something else I was going to ask. I mean, this is just like kind of get to know. So I've seen pictures of your girls. Mm-hmm. Not that I was creeping, but but you are on Instagram.
Yeah.
Okay. Children, what do you have?
I got 2 daughters. I got a 28-year-old. She's married. She lives in St. Augustine. She actually works for a former FRAMECAD guy. Believe it or not, there's a lot of FRAMECAD guys around here.
Yeah. And then the other daughter?
And then the other daughter is 20, going to be 21 in April, and she is down in South Florida going to college, and she's modeling, and she's doing really cool things.
I was going to say, and I knew that it wouldn't be offensive.
No.
Beautiful girls.
Yeah, her dream was to hit New York Fashion Week, and she walked it, and she was pretty.
Did she really?
Yeah, she just did it.
Wow.
She was pretty excited. And my older one, her old goal was to, kind of run an operations, and she's running operations. She's a COO now, so she's doing really well too.
Both of them rock stars.
They're both rock stars.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, they're not doing this, but
they're not doing this.
They're
Who knows?
Much smarter.
Who knows?
Much smarter.
Who knows?
Yeah,
much smarter.
Yeah, much smarter. Okay.
I would say that I would close with this.
Okay.
I would say this is that the cold form steel, I don't care what you want to call it, revolution, change, shift, paradigm shift, whatever. Because I've been in it for 10 years, because I've been trying for it to manifest itself, I'm telling everyone right now, it is 100% on, and it is a locomotive, and it is coming hard, and it's coming fast, and everybody's figuring it out. We can't keep up. Mm-hmm. If I can't keep up, that means everybody else is going to be in the same position if they're not already. And the truth is that the more opportunity we have to put higher quality engineering, design, and product on the market, which I think comes from a system and not a machine, will put us in a position to dominate this market. There's an opportunity for us to go after wood. I think I told you once before in our last one, I think in 5 to 7 years, you're going to see a production builder walk into a model home. You're going to have the option to buy your home in frame or cold form steel.
Correct.
And they're going to charge a handsome premium for that.
Yep.
And they're going to make money on that. But also the consumer now has an option to not live in a termite worm box and live in something that's going to actually stay with them long past they're gone.
Yep. And there you have it. A great conversation with Stanley Adwell from Intellisteel. I hope you got some valuable information that you can use to help you with further conversations with builders and developers in your area. We've all built it the old way. Now let's go build it better. See you next time.